Okay, we're here again. Let me just check the volume real quick. I feel like I could turn this up just a little bit more. Yeah, so here we are again. I'm still working on Tippy Towers slash Handle with Care. Uh, here's where we left the game yesterday. I have been working on it since. I'm gonna fast forward once we're done demoing. Um, so here's the three blocks and the magnet. So when you play, it looks fine, but notice how like first of all like how bouncy the wire is, and also when things are close to it, it gets it gets kind of like it goes off in the distance. It's not pulling towards the magnet, it's kind of pulling just up. So this is where I left it. You can go up and down, but you can also like go up and down indefinitely, which is not right. So let's see where we are now. You can see here's my commit history. I made a few changes, uh, kind of throughout the day, including this morning. So let's check out the tip of mainline again. Okay. So I added a bunch of stuff. The top right shows whether the magnet is on or off. I'm eventually going to remove that. I want it to be like a visual indicator on the magnet, like a red light or a green light. I don't know which one is which. I think, or maybe like an on or off light. Um, and it's gonna. I want it to have not like a literal bloom effect, but kind of a fuzziness around it. And then there's also this chute over here on the left side that where items spawn right here, and then they spawn and they land in this space here. I'm calling this the platform, where this is like a staging area kind of thing. Um, and then you have to load things onto here, and this is the base ground, and there's this zone outside, which is pretty large. Um, this is the package lost zone. So if things fall into here, then they're considered gone, and they get destroyed, and you lose, points and all that. This weird thing here is the highest point detector, and it's a shape cast that projects downwards looking for items in the collision mask 2 bit, which I call a junk, but it's just, packages. It was originally going to be like cars or something, but then I got the idea that these could be packages, and it projects down here to try to see like how far, what the topmost item is, and it duplicates. There's actually only one rectangle. It's kind of like this one rectangle on top is projected downwards until it hits something, and then you can find the point of contact and you can see exactly where that thing is. And let's see, there's a couple more things. One, there's these little sidebars here. This is part of the crane, but these are, I guess they don't have names, but these are like the railing essentially, so that when you pull it up here, so when you reel the chain in, it doesn't like swing side to side, in this big kind of triangle shape. It kind of funnels in through this point. And maybe I could pull it up a little bit more. It is a little bit weird to not have like a visualization, but it's I don't know, that's the way it is right now. Yeah. So let me just play for a couple minutes and show you what it looks like. So here's the package, and you can see the magnet is off right now, and you can hit spacebar to turn it on or off. And then the goal is you just pick it up and you drop it over here, and it shows you the highest point. And it is still bouncy, but see, it works pretty well. It magnets pretty well. You actually don't have to stack necessarily on top, which for some of these smaller boxes can sometimes make sense. For the big boxes, you can just, you want to dump it as squarely on top as you can. I've been practicing a little bit, as you can guess. And you keep going, and the game continues. Nothing changes so far. It's just this mechanic. It's these three boxes, and oh, I think I double clicked it. And you keep going. Oh yeah, yeah. The last thing is everything. The ground doesn't move. Everything else moves up, including the camera. Everything's attached to the camera, except the crane. The crane got a little unhappy because it's a physics body. I guess, yeah, but you can see, and the way that works is it waits. The height detector also waits to see like when the object starts sleeping, and a rigid body is always like they aren't being constantly simulated. They after they settle for a bit, they like stop moving until they get touched again. Um, and you can detect that, and you go like, okay, well, once it's sleeping, it means it's stable, and then you update the height and you update the point here. So the only problem I've run into so far is when it gets tall enough, it starts to get a little unstable. And I don't just mean like because it's too, because you have an unstable tower, though I mean that's also true. Um, it gets a little glitchy because there's so many physics bodies that are stacked up. So what I'm thinking about doing is like 10, like it takes longer to settle. It takes longer for it to start sleeping. Um, and it's because you've got 50 objects that are there or whatever. So I think what I'm going to do instead is items that are like too far off the screen are they're saved. They're kind of permanent. They become static. You can actually freeze rigid bodies into either a kinematic or static mode, but I don't plan on moving them. So you can freeze them in static mode, and that way they won't contribute so much to the wobble. It does mean like you could theoretically make a tower that like zigs and zags widely side to side, which wouldn't actually be like stable or possible. But I think it's necessary to make the game like winnable. I don't want it to just keep going until like the game bugs out. Like it should like it gets wobblier and wobblier, and I don't know. It's not necessarily the fault of mine as the player. Oh, okay. So I've implemented lose conditions. The game keeps going, which I'm doing kind of on purpose for now. But as soon as you lose, right now, as soon as you lose a single package, it's game over. But I would like it to be you have some quota or threshold, like you can't lose more than like three packages or something. But it should also be once the tower is tipped over, then it's game over. So I think it's going to be a little bit complicated. I'm not sure exactly how I want to, do that. I think it'll be once a tower, once a block has stabilized, then like you need to track it somehow, like add a child node to it, and then once it falls, if too many objects that have that child node fall, then it counts as a loss. So there's that, and the other thing that I want to do, that I'm going to do first, because it's kind of tricky, is when you drop the package in the game, it's game over. It says package is placed to 0, and that's just, it just hasn't been implemented yet. I want to implement that. So I also want to like, there's some animation stuff here I want to do, but that's even more polished. Like this like crossed out 2 thing here is I want it to be like a shink shink. I also want to do sound effects. I also want to add buttons on screen for mobile. I'm not going to worry too much about mobile for the game jam, but everything so far seems like it should be possible. Also, I want to add like speed buttons. Kind of like when you have a a game, you kind of expect shift to make you go faster, but it's not going to work with mobile. So you just kind of add a button here on the side that says, you know, go double speed. Okay. So what do I want to work on next? So the first thing, it's kind of not important. I want to do packages placed. I'm going to start that right now. So for scripts, there's highest point detection here. And this uses the I mean this is the shape cast. This component is I think it's attached to the camera. There it is. So this is here, and it can like identify which things have been, you know, what the highest point is, and it checks to see is that thing sleeping or not. First collision is a rigid body, and also we don't have to filter by other rigid bodies simply because this collision mask sets it to only hit junk, which ideally is what you always want to do. You don't want to do casts, you don't want to do checks, you don't want to do like node checks because this runs on every single frame. It's, you know, mask is always going to be faster. So let me see. There's a couple different ways we could do this. We could say like we could have a list of nodes, but then like that list gets slower and slower as the bigger it gets. So I'm gonna say, I know this could be slow. Like there's also, you could add it to a group. Let's try that. First collision, group, add to group. I wonder what persistent means. If persistent is true, the group will be stored when saved inside a packed scene. Okay. This is fine. I mean, there, like if you have a list, then the list gets longer and longer, and then checking membership is order n. It's linear time, or you add a child node, but then maybe I can do a cast here. Is there a? I don't know. I'm overthinking this probably. So for junk here, the thing is I don't have a script for these things yet. There's no script for junk, but maybe there should be. Let's just do groups. So there's already a group called junk, but we can call this scored, meaning it's already contributing to the score. We're going to check to see, are you in group. This happens so often, and there's going to potentially enough boxes that if any of this says that it's like linear time, I'm going to try and find something else. See also notes in the description. What description? This description? Node? Groups. Groups can be added to as many groups as you want to be easy to manage. You can create, yeah. See, okay, I mean, this just says these other methods exist. Okay, so these boxes here, you can see they're in a group. They're in the junk group, and when they're scored, we add them to the scored group. And we can also say, we can also use this to keep track of how many boxes have been placed. Mostly, the one kind of edge case to this is if like this raycast only kind of goes down to the length of the screen. So if you're up off the top of the screen here, and your shapecast is only doing what's on the screen. If you drop a box down to the bottom and it settles down here, that won't be counted. But you won't. This is why one of the other ways I was thinking of tracking how many packages have settled is just how many packages are generated minus how many packages are over here minus how many packages were lost. But that's still this is going to require some iteration. Okay. So it's scored. So the whole point of this was if it falls off the screen. Oh, wait, no, the whole point of this was to keep track of the number of packages that have scored. Okay. So I have package lost zone, and the game is keeping track of whether the game is over or not. That seems silly, but what if I just had a packages scored manager? And this can just be var packages scored. This is going to be really basic, but I've been using the unique name stuff a lot. It's pretty nice. So what we can do here is on this thing, we can wait a second. I can't use that. You can't use a unique name if outside your current scene. No, that's fine. I think, is there a way to copy the path to this? Copy node path. I mean, this is kind of fragile, but also it's fine. Is that, oh, okay. Get node root game that. And we just increment this. It's not going to be type safe, but that's fine. So now I haven't actually, I've done all my UI stuff off, UI components off stream so far, which is, I don't know, a little, I don't know, like disingenuous. It's not, UI is always a pain, but I find it in Godot is actually much, like getting UI stuff to work in Unity. There's the old, it's kind of the legacy UI stuff, which is a pain, and then the new stuff is like all pseudo HTML, like XML. It's like XAML almost. It's better, but it's not as good as Godot's. I do think like the using containers for positioning is, I don't know, kind of just the way Godot works because everything's a node. That part I don't love, because then if you want to like change the way something is centered, then it breaks all your scripts. Anyway, so the end screen looks like this. And so packages placed here is this field, this number 10, currently it's number 10 right now, and it's in, you know, this thing here. So you'll notice I don't really have very many scripts. Everything is just in the endgame screen. And this here is kind of a telltale sign that really the end game screen should be a its own scene, a separate scene file, and then you can use a unique node for these things. But I'm being kind of lazy. So we already have packages placed count, and we just have it at hardcode to 0. This should actually be this. That's not what I meant. Okay. Dot packages scored. Let's see if it works. So by the way, this, well, I should turn this UI part off. You'll see activate here is wired into the game. The game script, all it does is it it says as soon as there's a package lost, then trigger game over. And then all the trigger game over does is it updates this boolean and sends a signal, which the end game screen subscribes to. So it's a little circuitous, but I wanted to centralize the game over logic because there's other things that subscribe to it. The controls also subscribe to it. Okay, so I need to capture 2 packages. I was also thinking, like, once a package stabilizes over here, it'd be nice if your delivery counter drops to 0, or like it immediately sends to the next package. However, that does mean if you have like multiple packages over here, then as soon as you drop, if you ever like want to strategize and have like multiple packages wait, then as soon as you drop a package, like it might make it impossible to actually catch up. So maybe I won't do that. Okay, so we have that. I should probably put the number also next to the height. Okay, so packages placed is working. Let me go ahead and fix that, commit that. Endgame now shows number of packages placed successfully. And there's one more bug that I want to fix first. So when you do this, if you lose it and you're moving your mouse, when you let go, it continues to move. So the reason for that is because it actually stops responding to user input once you've lost, which is not quite what I want. So here's the crane script, and right here at the top of the process, I say if the game is over, then abort. You're done. But and this is and I did move this around a little bit. So there's the toggle magnet spacebar button, and then there's moving left and moving right, and then there's also move up and move down here, which is still here because it kind of because all this stuff up here is doing is like it's updating the speed, but it's not doing anything with it. That happens in physics process, and here it's actually modifying the position directly in response to your key press. And arguably, like this logic should kind of also be moved up here. It should be your process callback is kind of setting your speed, and then your physics process is actually using it. I think that's conventionally how it's done. I think in Unity you're not supposed to read input in the physics methods at all, but if you look here, it says, well, is action pressed is, continuous, but like just pressed, and this says in the current frame or a physics tick, which means I assume that means you can use it in either process or a physics process. Which is a little bit goofy because physics process can span multiple, like physics process is like higher. It seems like one can happen more often than the other. So you could, so it could be triggered in multiple physics and multiple process ticks. One process tick, but multiple physics process. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Point being, this is working correctly. This is like the magnet is still doing magnet things, but you can't control it. And here it shouldn't be like, I think I need to like check this in multiple places. Is game over? Game that is game over. And then you have to say, and not. Why is this having trouble? Do you not Does this not know what game is? Game. Okay. Last name game. Okay. I forget the syntax. No, that is not the syntax. Is this the syntax? Okay. Oh, okay, so much for that. Okay, it's fine. This is just not going to be type safe. I don't know why this is being such a pain. Oh, I need to save. Is that? I'm so used to IntelliJ and Writer where you just like you save by by like losing the context by like switching tabs. Um, okay, so this is where well. Okay, finally. Okay, so if we don't want this anymore, we want and not game over there. There might be a better way to do this, but this is fine. So the goal here is that if you're holding on left or right, then it stops working. So now if we do this and we keep moving, it immediately stops, and you can't move and you can't turn the magnet on or off. Okay, good. Can no longer move crane after endgame. Okay, enough bike shedding. So there's two kind of important things for progression that I want to do. One is as the tower gets taller, it stabilizes, it freezes the older things. So what I'm gonna do for that is go back to the highest point calculator, and I'm gonna keep track of all of our boxes. And when it gets too big, I'm going to start freezing things in it. 15. Let's do like really low for starters, just to kind of make sure it's working. So again, this is like if you have 10 items that you've dropped, then the 11th item you drop will cause the oldest item to get frozen, the oldest unfrozen item to get frozen, and then each one you drop after that will cause the next oldest one to get frozen. So the way this is going to work is we're already keeping track of what what is getting scored here, and I'm going to actually move all that logic to a different script. I'm going to move this junk freezer stuff to a different script. So we're going to call this another thing here called junk freezer. So junk freezer gets a script. That's not, wait, I wanted this one. Scripts junk freezer. So what this does is it subscribes to that other things event first. So highest point, let's see, does this have, where's this thing? Does it have a unique name already? Hey, Slothlike Man. Yeah, so let me do a quick demo. So here's where we are now. Do the boxes look familiar? uh, you come over here and you pick up a box and you drop it. You drop it a little bit better than that normally. And then you stack them. And there's the magnets are working. They were kind of a pain. They don't work perfectly still, but the 2D joints in Godot are not very good. There's like 2 of them. And so what this does is actually like as it actually reparents the object. Like it used to be that it would slip off sometimes, but now like okay, well it doesn't I meant to do that. There's also an end screen. Hey Dr. Tiger. This is a game jam I'm working on where you build up a tower on the right side of boxes that just keep coming in, and it's just a little game jam that I've been streaming. I started this yesterday after starting over after working on another game for a couple days that I was not happy with. This one's a little bit more arcadey and doable for me in the amount of time that we have. All right, thank you. Thanks for subscribing. Yeah, so I've gotten pretty high, pretty tall on this, up to like 1200 or I think 1900. I don't know, between 1000 and 2000. And then at some point it starts to just kind of bug out because the physics does not like having that many boxes stacked. So that's one of the things. That's actually what I'm working on right now. Is that so? I want to show off one more feature. You can see as you get taller, the game slides. The platform slides down. And it's like a real game. And you kind of just keep going. The only thing, like there's some longevity issues, like besides the fact that it kind of bugs out eventually. It's not boring exactly, but it is repetitive, like around 500 or so, or 500 height or 1000 height. I was thinking about adding more boxes, and I think what I want to do is have one box that's like a triangle. I think those exist. Anyway, it doesn't matter. A triangular box, and the box will be, I think, slightly more than half the size of one of these boxes. These boxes are 128 by 128, and I want it to be like 70 or something, like suspiciously close to being the right size. And I will also introduce another box that's a long box. Like this is 128 by 128. This box over here is 128 by 64, but I want to do one that's like 192. It's like, like the extra long skis that you put on an airplane or something like that. There's so something longer, and you have to use the longer boxes to place the triangle boxes on top of them. And then you have to do 2 triangle boxes on kind of opposite sides that are counterweighted, and then you can stack another box on top of that. Anyway, so that will add a little bit more longevity, and then you can also make the game go a little bit faster. You can also have like circular boxes that you have to put between 2 other boxes, because otherwise you can't stack on top of it. Boxes are stacking up a little bit on the left side. You'll also see, like, look how it just kind of continues to wobble, and it doesn't, until it stops wobbling, it doesn't you don't get score and it doesn't move. So I'm trying to. Okay. Also, if a box goes off the screen, you lose. Day since last accident, is always like crossed out here. That's because it's the theme. Um, and you can see how many packages you placed and the height reached and all that stuff. I just added this like 20 minutes ago. Okay, so cool. You're all caught up. Feel free to drop if you want. Just kidding. Please stay. Yeah, or do whatever you want. It's cool. I know it's like a work night. I'm probably not going to do the full. What have I been doing? 2.5 hour streams. I don't know. I need a break too. It's a little bit like a second job sometimes. Um, yeah. So now what was it doing? Oh, so what I was saying is the way the highest point, so the highest point detector, this is a shape cast that kind of scans downwards to see like what the highest box is, what the tallest reaching box so far is. And it's tempting to shove all the logic in here, and it's already doing it's updating boxes to mark them as scored, it's incrementing the score counter, it's moving the camera, it's moving it's updating the score thing here, and really this should be like more events. And so instead of saying putting the junk freezing stuff in here, I'm just gonna say emit signal or not signal new highest point, and we're gonna new highest. I guess I'm calling it junk. It's not really junk anymore. It's a legacy term. So new highest junk, and we're gonna pass in a we're gonna call it box rigid body 2D. So now we can move this stuff over to the junk freezer. And what this can do is we have the highest point detector, which does have a unique name here. We can pull this in here. And so now on ready, well, I haven't been doing this. I've been doing mostly programmatic wiring, which is fine, but let's not do that for once. Let's say handle new chunk. This is a rigid body 2D here, and we just put pass for now, so it compiles. So now, if you look at junk freezer, there's all these signals here. This is see, now the way to register this is you go to highest point detector, and then you can connect this to junk freezer, and you can pick the handle the junk button. Great. This works just fine. I'm going to mark this as a unique thing, actually. The thing I don't like about this is if you kind of think of like a model view controller, like the highest point detector is kind of the model, and the junk freezer is the view. And so it's like, oh, this other thing emits events, so I'm going to subscribe to it. And the whole point is the highest point detector doesn't know about it. I mean, because the model isn't supposed to be, aware of the things that are, the views that are using it. That kind of defeats the point. It's more coupling. But does this do what I hope it does? No. I was hoping that this wouldn't be a relative path here, because now if I ever move this, it breaks my script. So basically, you have to modify highest point detector to wire in like what other things are listening to it. But I don't want to do that. I want to say the junk freezer just subscribes itself, and the highest point detector is none the wiser. So I'm going to do that. And it's not too bad, but you say new highest junk connect self.handle the junk. Okay, and there we have it. So what we do here is we say junk.pushback. The methods are weird named. it's like push back and push front because I guess because the array is either a stack or a queue or yeah, the array is either an array, a stack, or a queue. And so we're kind of pushing this on the end. And what we're going to say is if junk dot count, no, size. Yeah, it's funny that does it also have length? No, it has both count and size. GD script does. So if junk dot size greater than, well, I always like to do this as a while loop. While junk dot size is greater than max frozen junk, then to freeze equals junk dot pop at, it's not, that's a slice. Well, I mean, I also come from a Ruby background, and the Ruby methods are all insane anyway, so I suppose this is better than those. Removes the first element of the array, returns null if it's empty without printing an error message. On large arrays, this method is much slower than pop back, as it will. So what this is saying is that this is an order n operation. Like when it's like a regular array. It's not like an array deck where it like moves a pointer or something smart like that. This is as soon as if you have 100 elements and you move the first one, it moves all the next 100 forward, which is bad. But we're not going to have more than like 10 here, so it's not really worth thinking about. I'm gonna say, well, I want to give this a type, and I know the syntax is like something like this. Like this is the type, but I don't know. Can I say like that? So now to freeze has a type? No? Okay. Oh, it's a variant. It has no idea. All right. Well, maybe I can just do this. I need my types, man. Can't live like this. Oh, now can I do this? Okay, it's think. Okay, close enough. So, um, no Go. I've tried Go before. It's fine. I mean I'm these days if I'm gonna use languages like choose to use the language, it's either gonna be Kotlin or Rust. Go does have some unique things of like being able to compile down to a binary. Just that the distribution story is amazing. The development story I've heard like less amazing, kind of more like Python level of shenanigans. The fact that you can like use a Git repository as a dependency, I've done that before, and then it breaks randomly because you're using a Git repository as a dependency. I don't know. It's a hard problem. I don't know very many ecosystems that have really solved it. Maybe Rust. Maybe Rust has kind of solved it, but like and Ruby, I would say, has kind of solved it. Node has not solved it. Java has solved it, but in a very Java way. Just like having to sign things before sending it to Maven Central is perfectly reasonable and helps with supply chain stuff. But I don't know. It's the fact they have to like. I don't know if you've ever tried releasing something on Maven, but on like Maven Central, but it's a pain. You have to like once you upload it, you also have to publish it after that, and the publishing, like, I don't know, you have to use this like very like early 2000s desktop simulated in a web browser environment, and I was just like, why? NPM, you can publish something for the first time in like 5 minutes, and then Maven is this whole like you need to follow tutorials and figure out signing keys and all this other stuff just to do this. I'm like, what? There's got to be something that is both secure and doesn't require an afternoon to figure out how to publish a package. That said, maybe it's hard. Maybe the learning curve is like on purpose. Imagine if it was like hard to do to deliberately keep out people who weren't serious about publishing things, because NPM has a preponderance of packages. left pad kind of stuff, versus a lot of Java packages seem like it's all Guava and Apache Commons, and kind of it has to be worth it to go to the trouble of publishing something. Anyway, yeah. Oh, and then of course, worst of all, uh, yeah, no take back season Maven. I understand about your blunders live forever. Yeah, I think NPM is the same way. You can like yank something and you can, but it's still there in case someone is building against it. I don't know exactly the conditions there. However, I think Unity is pretty bad at this. Godot is so the asset library is here, and it's kind of small, and it's all free and open source, and that part is fine. But like when you download something, it pretty much just dumps it into your like your directory. Um, and there's not like a good way to do updates, and there's not even a good way to like ensure it goes into a particular directory. So if I um shaker, so this is just kind of an example. What does this do? Oh gosh. Does it shake the camera? Okay. It's a 1.5 minute video. It's for shaking things. But when you download it, wow, this is a 55 megabyte plugin. Why is this? And so like it wants to dump like a license and a README directly in here. And there's like demo scenes. You can't easily turn this stuff off. Why is it like this? Like it has all this demo stuff, and this is a lot of plugins are like this. But I want it to be like, look, I don't merge it into my entire project. Only should only go in add-ons. If they screw up the plugin, I should be able to say, hey, look, I only want add-ons. And then there's no like version number or anything. It's kind of frustrating because it's not really part of the engine. It's kind of auxiliary, but it's pretty rough right now. And I think that is one thing that's holding back. Like, well, if you want to ship a game real quick, let me just pull in all these assets. And then 3 months later, you're like, oh, everything needs to be updated. But I don't know what needs updating. And anyway, all right, rant over. What was I working on? I was working on freezing things. Okay, so we have these boxes. These boxes are physics shapes, and there's kind of two things you can do to turn them off. You can disable them, and this says like, well, you can always set your process mode to disabled. This like, take it out of the game. Well, what happens when you disable it? Do you remove the physics object, or do you make it static so it doesn't move but it still hits things, or do you just, nothing changes? This isn't what we want, because if we did have a script, this isn't just like a reasonable way to disable this. Like if it had a script, I'd want the script to keep running maybe. There's also deactivation here. This is what I'm relying on. This can sleep here. When there's no movement, it sleeps, and until something bumps it, and we check for this. But this freeze thing here is what we want. It says gravity and forces are not applied anymore. See freeze mode to set the body's behavior when frozen. So the two modes are static or kinematic. Static means here it can only be moved. It can be only moved by user code and doesn't collide with other bodies along its path. Or kinematic body freeze. Kinematic is similar but collides with other bodies when it's moved. So this doesn't exactly, like, I don't plan on moving these boxes ever. Like, the whole point of this is that they are now immovable, so it doesn't really matter. But static is the default, and it's probably more performant, which is another kind of aspect of this. So we're not going to freeze here, but we're going to leave everything else default. So let's go back to our script, and we're going to say to freeze, and we're just going to freeze equals true. Okay. So now we do the fun part. playtesting. So I'm gonna get up to level, let's say like 1,000, height 1,000, and like see if it feels more stable. I'm keeping this a little bit small because I want to see if there's any errors. I'm not seeing any yet, which is always a good sign. Oh, well, so like max unfrozen junk is 2. So this is, come on, there we go. So now we're at the limit and nothing should be frozen yet. So I'm going to say print freeze. And by the way, this works actually because it's GD script. You can just like write code in the middle of your game. That part is nice. So when I drop this, it should say freeze down here. Oh, no. Okay, concerning. I can also set a breakpoint. Okay. Let's try that. No. It's kind of cool that they stick together like that because, oh, shoot. What? Okay. Because that's kind of like magnets kind of, I don't really know why, but like, I think it's whatever you picked up with the magnet itself becomes a magnet to like a lesser degree. And this game doesn't really simulate magnetism. It's just like a force. So that is pulled towards this. I don't know. It's a bug, but it's one that I like and seems realistic. Okay. It seems like this isn't working. So we're saying new highest junk, connect this. Okay, is this not being triggered? Oh, I'm stupid. I need to emit the signal. That would make sense. Like the only possible thing it could have been is in fact what the problem was. It was not being triggered because I was not triggering it. First collision. Okay. Okay. So no, I don't need a breakpoint because I'm pretty sure this is gonna work. I'm gonna make this a little bigger so we can still see the errors, if there are any. I'm pretty pleased with the magnet, the sticking in general. The only thing it doesn't do right now is like it clips through the bottom like this, but there's some weird, like it gets, certain things get kind of jumpy when based on the collisions. So I might just leave it like that. Okay. So also small boxes are a giant pain in this game. So I have the bigger boxes like spawning a little bit more often because they're better. Oh, okay. Da-da-da. I wonder why this one doesn't have a name. Oh, come on. No. I'm not used to games where like frustration is part of the genre. Um, I don't hate it. I mean, for playtesting, it's annoying because I'm like trying to test something. Um, but it would be interesting to be like, you have to move quickly over here on the right side because so that you can like organize your staging area. Something else players might think about is this area here is a bit precarious. Like things can slide over pretty easily. So like what if you put a box here on purpose to keep things from going too far? I think that would be kind of a clever idea. Okay, so the goal here, or the hope here, is that this will print out freeze. Hey, okay. So what this means is that the bottom box here is now completely frozen. And if I whack it, you actually like you can't. You can't move it. Um, which it'd be cool if you if like that wasn't okay, well I kind of hosed my run a bit here. It'd be cool if that wasn't like necessary, but just in terms of like physics not okay, okay. In terms of physics not go boom, it is, unfortunately. And I think it won't be like right now it's set to 2. Um no. Okay, I might need to tune that a little bit. I used originally I had like a little lip here. Um, I might put that back in. I don't want you to like things shouldn't just roll over like, oh, you have 2 items over here, everything else slides off the map. But like maybe if you're, big brain about this, you can be like, well, I'm gonna scoot this a little bit over here. So I don't know if to change the collide of the boxes. Um, so now other boxes will not fall off the edge. So this is going to be a little boring, but I kind of actually do need to test this. It is fun. I played this a little bit. I mean, no, I didn't play this at all today. Um, but if I were to have played it, it does. It is fun. I think I played enough that um, it's a little bit boring because you need more variety. But I think it has promise, especially as like a dumb little mobile game. Like if you're just, you have your crane and you're moving things up and down and you're dropping things and you're trying to like this weaving part here is kind of there's some skill to it. You have to like time it and you're trying to stack it as vertically as possible. Um, and I need to figure out. I don't know. The face up here is a little silly, but I kind of want to keep like some kind of face up there. I think it'd be endearing. I've actually thought about it's not like man like exploding boxes if you don't move them quick enough. Kaboom! I was thinking like some of these things are a little. I don't know if they're like edgy exactly, but like imagine one has like that like battery warning symbol on it, and then it starts smoking after a while. Um, I thought that'd be funny. The problem is like you can't put it on your stack because it'll explode. Um, but what I was thinking is, oh god damn it. Okay. Well, but you can see like it seems very stable, even though I feel like there's more than 6 boxes. I need to start actually counting. Um, uh, but I was thinking of adding like a little disposal thing on the right side, like a way to junk things safely. Because if it's on fire or something, you don't want to put it in your stack unless there's like another item you could put on top of it that would like, can you drop a fire extinguisher on top of it? I don't know, but I think it is funny to have like kind of some kind of timed events for these boxes over here. No, it wasn't your fault. It's not the command. It was well, I just like talking too much, and I'm not good at doing both. Okay, so I'm gonna change. I'm gonna get rid of that comment. I also don't need the fused. I think it's in the crane. Let's get rid of fused. Fused is working now. So fused here was like you reparent and freeze it, and then when you drop it, you unfreeze it. Okay, so there's that. I also want to change like I don't want it to be obvious that this is what's happening. Ideally, it would be like off the bottom of the screen. So let's do that. So okay, freeze. Freeze boxes junk. Freeze junk. Lower down in the tower. Okay. Let's do something fun. Let's create a new thing. A new box. Okay, so we have so here's our big box. Here's our big boy. And like I said before, maybe I could do triangles that are like half the size, but it's still gonna be hard to put two triangles exactly on top of this. But essentially, what that would look like is this, but in like a just a I guess it'd be an isosceles triangle, just in like triangle form, kind of if you think like a platformer, like the spikes that you fall on. Uh, okay, so let's make a copy of this. Triangle 64, 64. Uh, all right. Um, I'm gonna move the logo to another layer. How do I do that? Not by right clicking, apparently. Cut. New layer. Paste. Okay. I want to preserve its beauty for future generations. Um, for well, I'm gonna like overwrite it in a second. um, so there's a symmetry. Actually, this is what I want. Okay, so this is perfect. You can see it's doing the right thing. Let's see, magic wand. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna zoom in the corner a little bit. No, that looks weird. Okay. One more. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then we also need to delete this. Oh, we were missing a little bit of the hat up here. Looks like it's 2 over 1 up, so we'll. Okay. Looks fine. We're not bringing the logo back. So this, obviously, we can just move this down a bit. Wait, what happens if I do this? Oh, okay. I thought the symmetry might do something. So this isn't going to fit, obviously. Let me drag its exact size. Oh, it's not. Okay, I can't because it's not. It's an odd width or something. Well, it's. Let me see. Can I get this exact? Okay. Then we're gonna delete everything else. Okay. So this is. Well, I want to be able to fit like here. Okay. Can I resize just this layer? Layer. Can you do sprite size? No. Okay. We're gonna do a super advanced trick. We're gonna paste this into a new sprite and then resize it. This is already resized, so it might be going through some trauma, going through some artifacts, but let's well, nearest neighbor is gonna look, I don't know, 100.000%. Okay. When you're doing pixel art, you always want, I mean, obviously you don't want to do fractional pixels if you can help it. Okay. Well, let's see if this is at least the right size first. Obviously it looks terrible, but new layer. Eh. Sad logo. Let's try resizing this again. 75%? Definitely gonna need to touch this up a little bit. Okay. Okay, so that's the right size. How does this look normally? It looks pretty good normally. Let's kind of move this up here for I said let's move. Please let me move. Okay. We'll look at it over here. So it's so I did this on purpose. This is two Bezier curves overlapping and the same start and end point with like an extra little curve in the bottom, and then kind of just kind of winging it for the arrow, which is also Bezier curve. Yeah, this looks kind of crappy, but let's go ahead and like erase some of this. Oh, let's make this a little bit more curved. It looks too curved now. Well, I'm going to rely on the player having seen this arrow in other contexts to understand that this is supposed to be an arrow. You know what? It's hard. It's tiny pixel art. Tiny pixel art is hard. So I'm going to export this. The other thing I wanted to do was make a box that looks like this. Okay. I think the connection may have dropped for a second, but it's back now. That was weird. Okay, sorry about that. So let's see. This is 128, and I want to do like 50% wider, so like 192. 192 by 64. So we're gonna just take this box, cut. This is doing the same things before. We're just gonna call this arrow. Let's hide that for the moment. So this is just a smooth it's just a straight 2 pixels on the corners. So let's go ahead and resize to 192. I think I want nearest neighbor for this one. Okay, so this is what I was expecting. I do want to, like, this is now like 2 by 3. Like the top border is still 2 and the side border is 3. I'm going to fix that. It should be the same. I could have done symmetry for that. Oh well. Okay. Turn this arrow. I guess that makes sense. I didn't mean to stretch the arrow. It looks cheesy. You can't just stretch the arrow. That's ridiculous. So I'm gonna go back to the other one. Once again, relying on the power of copy and paste. Copy. Paste into invisible layer. Doesn't work. All right. I'm mashing all the buttons and it's not working very well. Okay. I was trying to undo and I undid the wrong thing. Okay. Looks centered. Export and ship it. Okay, so right now, the way the spawn, so there's a spawn timer, which is a node that just, at this rate, it's just a timer. I don't know why I implemented it like this. I could have just used a straight up timer node. But this does give you a little bit more control over, like, if you want the timer to get shorter every time, this is a little bit easier to do it this way. Anyway, so there's the spawner over here. Everything's still streaming okay? I mean, it's Ethernet. It should be, well, okay, whatever. So the spawner here works. Thank you. I saw a loading spinner. I'm like, what's going on? The way the spawner works is it's this node right here, and it's just got 4 scenes. And if you look at the script, there's the 2 spawn array that you give it, and then it picks a random one and instantiates it, and it gives it a random rotation and adds it, etc. So now we need to think of like groups. We need to have, like, at different levels you get different characteristics. So I think what I'm gonna do is have spawn groups that basically has the same information, where you have a list of things to spawn, but also like there needs to be some kind of threshold to know, like, well, when do I start spawning this? And I'm going to say that threshold is based on the number of packages you've placed, because that's kind of an approximation for progress. So I'm going to say, like, after 10 packages, switch over to this new mode. And then that new mode will have the new shapes that I added. So let's commit those first. Triangle and extra wide box art. Okay, they don't do anything yet. But so here we're gonna have, well, it's gonna be a node. Nodes don't do anything, so they're fine to add scripts to. Script slash spawner group. Sure. I think I'll stop streaming at 7, by the way. I mean, it's a school night, and an hour and a half is a good stream. Okay, so this looks kind of, like I said, this looks kind of the same. Here's the things to spawn. And well, there's other things I could kind of think about. They're like, well, what if what if one spawn group was like 0 to 10 packages and the next spawn group was 5 to 15 packages? Can you have overlap? But then that requires that you, like, every 15 seconds you, like, merge the 2 groups, and then you pick a random one, or you pick a random group and then you pick a random thing. I'm just gonna say, like, let's just call it package threshold, and then once you, like, every time it ticks, it's gonna scan to see, did we hit a different package threshold on any of the things, and if so, switch to that group. So this is gonna be kind of like a data node. This is it. I think this is all there is. So we're going to call this start, and package threshold 0. And I'm going to copy this array. Please. Oh, I was right-clicking the wrong thing. Copy this here. And once again, this is like a resource. No, it's not a resource. I think this is copied as value. So if I modify this, does it modify this one? No. So these are actually, it actually duplicated the entire array, which is good. But actually I did want the exact same thing here. So you can see there's box 128 twice, and then I don't know why this one has a picture, but this is the narrow box and this is the small box. So there's, you know, a two, like a 1 in 2 chance of scoring one of the big boxes, and a 1 in 4 chance of the other two smaller boxes. So I'm gonna duplicate this and say like, well, let's call it level 1. This might be a little bit confusing because there might be actual stages later on in the game, but let's say here we go. Level 2 is, let's say 5. Let's say like 4, just for now. And I need to go create those other boxes now. So here's the small box. I'm gonna duplicate this one because this is gonna be our triangle. I'm gonna rename. They should have unique names. Triangle box, and we change the sprite to our lovely triangle. Looks great. The collision shape is no longer a rectangle, obviously. So there's no triangle, but there is a convex polygon. So let's do that. I thought there was a way to like, I thought there was some controls up here for this, but maybe not. It's not too hard to do this. Hello, Kickman123. Welcome in. I'm working on this little game jam where, oh, okay, that is not what's supposed to happen. Just kidding, it's working great, it's going great. But you're supposed to have here, I'll show you. So item like packages slide in from the left side here, and you use a crane to pick them up and put them on the right side. And as you progress, I'm working on the part now where like as you get higher and higher up, it switches to different types of packages. Initially, they're all rectangular, but what if those packages are triangles? How are you going to stack triangles on top of other things? And the answer is you have 2 triangles next to each other, and then you can stack things on top of that. So I'm just getting started on creating the first. So I think the reason why I slid off the map like that, I don't know why I was getting spawned, but the reason I slid off the map like that is because we haven't defined the collision shape yet. So I usually no, I don't want to move the transform. I want to move this thing. Thank you, Kickman123, for the support. It's due on Friday, and I've only seen one other game jam so far. One other game. So hopefully hopefully this does well. So let's see. Let's start in the. Is there like normally like a right-handedness? Like, do we want to start with the top one? I don't know if it matters. Let's see. So with the top one would be 0, negative. That's probably 32, huh? Negative 32? I really wish I could see what this was doing. And the next one is, so if the entire thing is 32, is 64 by 64, then the next one should be 32 by negative 32. No, positive 32, because positive is down. Hey, I can see something now. Okay, and the last one is negative 32 by positive 32. Okay, one perfectly accurate triangle. What is this complaining about? Oh, aha, I was right, kind of. There's another collision shape, which is a collision polygon. And if I throw all my heart, can I copy these points? I spent so much work on them. You can say build mode, just the edges or the entire solid. I mean, it's a solid shape. I think that's what I want. And so here's the polygon. So you can paste. Okay, that's a different color, but wait. Okay, see, here's what I was talking about. There's this little controls up here at the top for like. Well, that's not what I meant. Okay, take my word for it. Somehow this works. There's controls up here for. I don't know why this is being such a pain. Anyway, in theory, there's an easier way to do this than just by typing in coordinates over here. Okay, so Oh. Oh, crap. Okay. I overwrote. I know what I did. When you do a save as, I always expect programs to open the new thing you saved it as, but some programs don't do that. You save as, and it does, and it's the equivalent of save copy as. Um, so now, essentially, basically the triangle and the box are swapped. And that's why this was getting spawned, is because I was modifying the wrong thing. Okay. So now we do. Can I just undo? Okay. So now I don't know if you've ever had to do this in general, but you save this as triangle like 2, but now it is. I must have just clicked the wrong thing and lost track. That was just me being dumb. Okay, so now we overwrite this with the thing that we actually have. Overwrite. And then we rename this one to 2. This is, I know, classic swap. This is kind of like, hey, you have variables x and y, how do you swap them? And if you're using some languages, you can be real smug about it and be like, x comma y equals y comma x. And they're like, okay, that's syntactic sugar for creating a temporary variable. And here the temporary variable was the _2 file. So I made the copy down here in the art directory correctly, but okay, before I delete anything, so 6464 has the right one, the triangle has the right one, and triangle 2 also is going to get deleted. Okay. All right, mystery solved. Boxes are boxing. Wait, go. No, this is not supposed to be still open. I didn't close it first. Okay, so let's get this one last thing done. So there's things over here. And what I'm going to do now is when you hit the package threshold of 4, we're going to, instead of getting the big box, you're going to get the small box some of the time. Can I zoom out a little bit so that the screenshot looks a little less silly? Okay. All right. I think it's just red just because the collision polygons are just a different color. But you can also change it. No, you can't. Okay, so now we just need to make the spawner use this. So we need to keep track of packages stacked. Well, what am I calling this? Packages stacked, which is a int. Well, whatever. It's a 0. And then every time you spawn something, let's see, update current group. So if package is stacked is 0, I think what we want to do, this does require that our levels always be in order, but I think that's fine. For a child in get children, which returns array of node. We want to say, this is a spawner group. So we want to say, current spawner group is a thing of type spawner group. And then current spawner group, well, actually we can just call update current group. So we say we want the largest one. We want the latest group that we can. So here we say spawner group equals C as spawner group. And then we say if, I haven't fully thought this out, but I think this is on the right track. If spawner group, no, wait, that's not right. If package is stacked greater than equal to spawner group dot package threshold, then current spawner group equals spawner group. And then, and I mean, I don't think you could do something to break to be like else. How many there's going to be? There's going to be like 3, or 5. So it's fine to go through all of these. There's just not very many of them. You could say maybe like else break. It's fine. So current spawner group is this. And then we need to use it. So to spawn is this array of packed scenes here. What we actually want is current spawner group dot to spawn. Is that still what it's called? To spawn. Yep. Okay, so let's kind of walk through the code first. So package. So we need to increment packages stacked first. But hold on. I also need to call this after this. No, you only need to call that when the package stacked is updated. Call it here. Yeah, it's a little bit inefficient, but it's fine. So the first group is 0, and then the next group is 4 as the threshold. So when you have 0 packages, packages stacked is 0, and it is greater than or equal to 0. So it'll always pick this group. It should always be like -1 just to be sure, but it's fine. So 0 here, and then when this goes up to 1, it'll be higher than 0. It'll be higher than level 1, but less than level 2. So then so it won't trigger the level 2 spawner group. That happens for 3, and then when 4 happens, current spawner group will get reassigned to level 1, and then on the next loop get reassigned to level 2 because 4 will be greater than or equal to the threshold. And get children does return things in order. Probably. The worst case, if I had to, like it's level 1 and level 2 and level 3, I could start like a counter and just like use string concatenation to like find that node, or I could like sort them by package threshold. I don't want to do that. That sounds like a pain. So the last thing I need to do is this package is stacked here. There's packages scored. Which is updated by the highest point detector. So what I want to do is in the spawner, I think this is fine. Like I could subscribe to the event where there's a new package was scored, but I can also just say, look, this is called once every 15 seconds, and it takes like a millisecond. It's fine. So package is stacked. In fact, we don't even need to save this. What we can do instead is let's try to be a little bit efficient and just like cache this. I mean, I could also just refer to this here, but here we can say var. Wait, this is confusing. Packages stacked equals that dot. Okay, the terminology here is a little all over the place. If I say as package, wait, I think, okay, I want to make it's complaining because I'm trying to make it type safe. Does this work? No. As packages scored? No. Yes. So this is typed spawner group. What do you want? Oh, this is actually okay. All right, Godot, you win. That was a typo. I concede. Okay, so this is the last, so it's 7 o'clock. I hope this works. So again, what we're checking here now is for items, for the first 4 or 5 items, we're going to get the usual spread of boxes. And then after that, let's throw in another triangle here just to make sure. After that, there'll be a 50% chance of everything being triangles. Good luck. Let me shrink a little bit to make sure that there's no errors. Something I was doing earlier to test out the verticality movement, I was just dumping a bunch of objects here on the side. But in this case, I mean, I want the spawner to spawn stuff. So let's see, packages scored is 2 now. I just have to like not lose. I'm like okay at this game when I'm like, when no one's watching, I'm okay at this game. When I'm like when it's actually important and I'm being recorded and stuff, it's a little different. Gosh, oh gosh. Okay, playtesting must continue. I don't know how painful this is to watch, but here I'll try not to stack them. If I just put it on the side, can I nudge this a little bit? A little nudge. Okay, that was nerve-wracking. Huh. Physics. What a bastard. I always like hold my breath for a second when I see these packages flying in. And I'm like, please don't just like roll off the edge for no reason. But I'm trying to capture that anxiety. This game is not a cozy, relaxed game. This is a you're gonna lose for bullshit reasons, and that'll be motivating you to play again. Which is fun in moderation. Okay, so now we're at 4. We've incremented 4 times, so now we're at 4. I actually don't even have to challenge Master Sadness. Yeah. Oh, hey, it's a triangle. I was gonna say, I don't even actually have to stack things, I just have to not lose, which does happen sometimes for bullshit reasons. So, yeah, hey, triangle. However, it's kind of impossible without the long piece. Let me see. This is the first time I've ever played this triangle. You're witnessing history being made. Please don't push off the edge. I will... God damn it. It never occurred to me. This is not an equilateral triangle. This is going to be very hard to place because if you place it... perfect. Just what I mostly meant to do. Like if you basically you can place 2 triangles side by side, but because it's not equilateral, they won't necessarily be the same height. So the physics part seems to be working. Oh gosh. Task failed successfully. Perfect. And I failed again. No, that's good. I also could have just dragged this into level 1. But anyway, I was testing 2 things. I was testing the triangle and I was testing that the level 2 part worked. Okay. So that was some bullshit, but I mean fun. That was good fun. I'm gonna make these equilateral off stream because triangles are hard enough as it is. I don't need to have like, oh, on this side it's 128 pixels, and on this side it's some square root of 2 times 64 pixels. What, I don't know what it is. It's some irrational number less than 128. So okay, I'm gonna keep working on that and hopefully get rid of some of these Godot logos. But it is like a work day, so we'll see how far I get. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in, and I think I'll probably do this at the same time again tomorrow. So see you then.